Hey, 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 Valtopia. Hey, honey, it's Val, and I'm at the beach with K-Boss. We'll see how I get through this. Having a puppy is like having a little baby, isn't it? He wouldn't walk with me, and he's trying to dig all this sand up next to me, and so we'll see how we do on this live stream. He's looking at me like, who are you talking to? Are you talking to me? Want to say hi? Yeah. Hey, honey, it's Val and Val Cripps. I'm here in Venice Beach, and I'm full of sand. I'm an artist, I'm an energy guide, I'm a mindset mentor. Basically, I'm here to free you up, baby, because I went through this journey where, oh my gosh, I felt so trapped in my life, and I was really, it was all in my mind. And, you know, so many of us are learning so many amazing techniques of liberating ourselves from our mind. And there's just too much information out there anymore to feel trapped and to not feel free in your own experience. And I think, you know, many of us feel trapped and believe that we're trapped, and we've experienced being trapped, and we may very well be in a situation in our life experience where we are sort of caged in by our circumstances. But circumstances are temporary. Everything changes and evolves. I have a runny nose from the salty air. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to guide revolutionary, ambitious, baller leaders who are highly sensitive and have big hearts and have been through a lot in their lives. And a lot of times those of us who are highly sensitive for a reason, and we've been through a tough time, we put a wall up around our heart. I was talking about this yesterday, and we close ourselves off, and I'm here to help you unclose that wall. Hello, who's ever here? And so, even though we may know that everything changes and that we can shift things in the moment of our lives, even long after we're free, we can feel like we can't. Because the mind likes to remember what was and keep pulling it forward and forward and forward. And I've worked with so many beautiful, powerful, highly sensitive, gifted creators, myself included, who, and let me know if the sound is okay. I thank you for the hearts, who have been on lockdown so much of their lives, it's hard to let go and it's hard to feel free. And it starts with your feeling. So let's talk about what you're doing, who you are, and what you're doing that is keeping you from moving past what was into what will be based on what you desire, right? So, hi, Ben. How are you? Shifting is good for the good as we are good. Okay. You want to expound on that a little bit more on my feet? So, here's the thing. Those of you that are highly sensitive and feel everything, you've probably moved past that at this point. This is who I'm talking to. You've moved past that. You've probably done a lot of work on yourself, and you help others. And you live your life for helping others because you know what it's like to be stuck, and you freed yourself, right? And you've come so far, and yet there's so much more available. And I know this because I've worked with so many of you. And so there are some really powerful techniques of releasing the memory of what was from your body. And many of us, even if we've evolved past the pain, it's so still in our body and being and energy, and we're still attached to it in unseen ways in our inner subconscious, that we, no matter what yoga, meditation, therapy we do, we're still carrying it. And I know this because I've done it myself, and I have to share every day. I want to share deeply that it doesn't have to be like that. And it doesn't have to be like that. And what we've done when we've been through these experiences is learn to bypass our feelings. We've learned to bypass our feelings, and we've learned to feel other people. And even if we know that and we've been doing the work on it, when we still have these programs and feelings running in our body, they guide us unconsciously. So what does this look like? This looks like you going only to a certain point of experience. You only letting yourself evolve beyond a certain point. And what that feels like is frustration and resentment and anger sometimes at the people around you. If we haven't fully felt into ourselves and allowed ourselves, we can often still be in a situation that looks like we can't get out of it, kind of like I was in a few years ago when I was in a difficult marriage and with a controlling type of energy. I let that happen. And at the time, it really did feel like I had nowhere to go and I wasn't allowed to be myself. And the only thing that changed that and let me be free was me deciding, no, you know what? I'm allowed to change this and I will shift it. And it was days and days and weeks and months of me learning to give myself permission to be who I am and to feel free. And from me having the courage to do that, I've helped so many other people shift. And from me doing that, I've shifted the relationship of with my children, not only with myself but with their dad too, because there were all sorts of old ideas about how things have to be that weren't applying to our current life experience and that our kids needed to see shift, right? So that came from my courage to let go. But you know where it really started? It started when I released that trapped energy and those old ancestral programs from my DNA and my body. Before that, it was like, they do those little experiments on kids in the, not kids, on mice or something, where you restrain something and they keep doing the same thing. It was like that. It was like I just would keep getting to a certain point and then just not get past it. And the fear was real because it was still in my body. And when I worked with healing practitioners and energy guides to release that from my body and my inner core beliefs, I didn't get fixed right away by any means, but everything began to shift from there. Ben says, hello, Susan. Ben says, for me, I just needed to apply what I learned or have been taught. Well, for a lot of people, Ben, that doesn't do it. It didn't do it for me. I wasn't learning what I was being taught because I wasn't allowing myself to absorb it or giving myself permission to do it, because the fear in my body was telling me I wasn't allowed to and I couldn't, so I wouldn't. And that's what I see in a lot of the clients I have. Even though they have been studying a lot and doing a lot, they're literally living in a paradigm that keeps going forward and forward because they can't release the old paradigm without doing this body work and feeling what you feel. When I first started my journey, I didn't even know what I felt because I was so used to turning off my feelings to please other people, because that's what I had to do. That was just what I learned to do. It's good as in choosing to do good every day, change our attitude to be and do good as much as we can, and also very important to surround ourselves with a good soul and in a positive atmosphere. Absolutely. But that comes from you letting yourself do that. And so who I'm connecting with in this message is someone who is feeling that goodness and knowing that they want it, and yet not feeling that they deserve it because of the programming and the feeling in their body that says, no, you're not allowed to have this, that says no. And here's where I'm going with this, because this is where I am and this is who I want to work with. There are deep impetuses and desires within us that feel too big and that feel too beyond what we know, and that feel risky, and that feel outrageous, and that feel too colorful and too bold and too cutting edge and too new. That's the stuff you want to go for. That's where the freedom is. You want to feel into that as much as you can. And if you find that you're being called by this and you won't let yourself do it, there's a good chance you're just a few sessions away from releasing the programs and the feelings in your body that won't let you go into that. Because when you go into that desire, your whole chest and body and being and expansion happens. And when you keep capping yourself and limiting yourself for fear or because it's too much or because you're trying to contain yourself within the confines of where you are, well, that's resistant to your soul right energy. And your soul right energy is what's going to pave a way for you and everyone that's in your constellation. And what I've found is as I've allowed myself permission to be who I am, to fall and tune into those huge desires, because mine are big and they feel outrageous and they have felt too big and I have followed them, is that I liberate way more than myself in doing so. I liberate myself, my children, people I love, because I'm tuning into faith and possibility. And then it happens and it comes in. And it doesn't come in until I feel it and allow the freedom that I know deep in my heart. And many of us, those of you that I'm talking to, have shut off your heart and put a wall around your heart because you've been hurt and it hasn't worked out and you're keeping carrying that forward and forward and forward and forward and forward. And that's not what you came to do and be. You did not come to live the past. You came to pave the way of you and your experience, and that requires some scary going into places you don't know, and it requires doing things you've never done, and it requires being brave and outrageously courageous. Ben says, yes, it's a struggle to change our old ways and our lifestyle that we get stuck in. Yeah, it can really be a struggle. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And what I've found with my clients who have been working at this for 10 and 15 years with yoga and meditation and therapy and spiritual practices and all these things is that there's just some little shit running around in your DNA that's telling you you can't. And it was really scary back then, and it feels very real because it actually is a signal coming from your mind telling you that it's real. And it gets way easier when you clear that stuff, and you clear it through sound frequencies and energetic frequencies. Most of my clients have a huge rapid shift in the first session. And that just shows you how tied up we are into these attachments that we've just simply gotten used to. And most of my clients, I'll also tie in this, are denying and ignoring and bypassing their own feelings, just simply because that's the way it's just become a way of life. So they're very successful. They have a huge tribe of their own. They're shining their light. They've come a long way. And there's more liberation that comes from finally, I think a lot of times what's happened is the success has come at a cost, and it's time to reconcile that cost. The cost is your joy. The cost is your bliss. The cost is your freedom. The cost is your faith. You do not have to keep propelling in an experience that feels like a cage, even though it's a really good cage. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to keep going with that. We can shift that. We can shift that with a few. It depends on where you are. Some people are going to shift more rapidly than others, depending on how many layers you've put down on yourself, that you've come with, and how much of that energy you're holding on to. So I just feel so excited because I keep helping people in my practice to really love their lives. And the most beautiful thing that's happening, yes, money comes. Yes, lovers come. Yes, relationships get better. But the most important thing that happens first is that trust of yourself and that feeling of like, oh my God, I could be in a ditch and I'll feel great. Like Viktor Frankl living his life, even though he was in the concentration camp, like still finding joy in everything. That's the process. Because once you get that inner peace and well-being and bliss from within process down, everything just blows up in a best way. But if we're carrying a life forward where we're sort of patched it together and we haven't resolved these deep inner attachments and released this energy, there's this, I know because I've lived it. And I'm coming into that state of self-trust and bliss more every day and seeing what happens when you do surrender to who you are fully. And it is about permission. And I'm opening up new layers of permission for myself too. I mean, when I first came online, I was afraid to even say who I was or, share. When I started being visible, I kind of wanted to have like an identity to hide behind, because it felt really weird and awkward to come forward. And that's what I find a lot with the messengers and the healers that I work with. There's this period of growth to go through where your old ancestral wounds of being killed for showing up and doing this work is still present within your body and being. And that doesn't have to be like that. And in releasing that, you don't only release it for yourself, you release it forward and back just 7+ generations, and you pave a new way of being, of life, of humanity that isn't about suppression and death and fear and scarcity and lack. It's all about opening up to what really is possible for us. And we are living in an incredible time that, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And the more of us that open up to our infinite power to create so powerfully just in our own lives and have that ripple out, it's not just about what's happening in the 3D experience around us. It's about what you're creating on the energetic level that's going to shift the matrix of the 3D experience. And I just really am going to get more and more powerful in this message, because I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it, we're knowing it. How does this resonate for you guys? Oh, there were a few people on and they popped off. So, Ben, I'm enjoying talking with you. Thank you for connecting with me today. The struggle doesn't have to be real. And I mean, believe you me, I'm 48. I know what the struggle is. I've come up and come a long way from where I was, but most of the struggle is in our mind, and we have these amazing techniques now to shift that, so it doesn't have to be like that. So that is my story for today. It's not a story, it's a beautiful truth. And what's he got? What you got, KB? I'm really opening up to more methods of release for my clients, more methods of cutting loose and having fun and tuning into desire. And I'm going to be opening up to more conversations about pleasure and allowing yourself to have pleasure, because I'll be honest with you, in these 4 years from where I was lost and confused and felt abused and victimized, and evolving to a place where I take care of myself and I'm strong and I'm courageous and I'm a bold leader. I did not want to step up in leadership at first. It came from me letting myself have fun. It came from me letting myself draw. It came from me letting myself come here to the beach. I felt so guilty when I first came out here to the beach, when I first got laid off and I had time off. I felt like, oh, my friends are still in the cubicle. My ex is even still in the cubicle. I feel like, who am I to get to enjoy my life experience? Who am I? Look what came from me letting myself enjoy my experience. Hundreds of other people are now, thousands of people are enjoying their experience because of what they learned from what I took a step to learn from the people that came before me that took their turn to learn, you know? Yes, pleasure and laughter. Absolutely. I love it, Ben. Well, pleasure and laughter are expansive and delightful, and I believe we are allowed to be blissful. And it hasn't been an easy journey to let myself do that, because, those of us that have been around the planet a minute, we've been taught other things, haven't we, Ben? We've been taught that you have to push, and you have to struggle, and you have to fight for what you get, and you have to, you almost feel guilty if you receive and it wasn't a slog. And that's just not the way the message we're spreading. That's not the life we're creating. And besides wanting to shift the message, what I've learned is that everything comes so much more easily when you actually tune into the pleasure and you do allow yourself desire. It's a slog because we let it be a slog. And the hardest part is if you really found yourself in a misaligned experience and you're working your way out, well, it takes a minute. You're going to have to hold the faith, clear that energy, change your mindset day after day after day, and until you see around you, you'll suddenly look around you and you'll be like, oh my God, this is easy. I'm living the experience I've always dreamed of because I let myself, because I gave myself permission. Thank you so much, Ben. Hi, Grazia, come stai? So, I love this conversation today, and I love that you're on here, Ben, with your positive, joyful attitude, because as much as I talk about this every day, I've still found myself catching myself thinking it has to be harder than it is. And it doesn't have to be. so much brainwashing and lies and programming and pre-programming. Absolutely. Well, the good thing about that is that we get to reverse the program, don't we? We get to change the program. And a lot of what my work is with my clients is recording my voice and my energy, my being, and my frequency is very powerful. And I record a lot of amazing content for my clients that they get to listen to, because here's how the mind changes. Repetition, authority, and trigger, like interrupt, pattern interrupt. And I'm all of those things. I will interrupt your pattern. And I also love to do this. I bring it forward and these recordings. But there's something about sound frequency that really allows both sides of the brain to connect. And that's also, we need to relax the brain and do self-hypnosis and reprogram what's happening in there. And then you will begin to see it reflected back to you, a shift, because you're expecting it and you're allowing it and you're giving yourself permission. Hey, Lauren, how are you? So, listen, I have an incredible program to do all this with you for 4 months, and it starts September 9th. There's only 2 spots, and it's a really intensive program, so it's a high level, meaning high investment of your time and your money. High is relative, depends on where you are in your economic scale, but it's life-changing. It'll fucking change your whole life. It's a daily presence with me. It's a weekly hour session, which is a whole process. So you're going to have, over 4 months, 16 sessions with me, which means every week you're going to go into a deep state of self-hypnosis and shift and transformation. I don't even know where these people are going to be after 4 months. Most of my clients have done 90-day programs, and a lot of them at the end are like, I'm good. I feel amazing. I love my life, and I know what to do. I'm never going to be in that position again. And I'm great with that. I think that's phenomenal. And so 4 months, it's obviously, this program is designed for 2 people who are really looking to catapult their leadership and their joy in their life, and to really bring that to impact to millions of people. That's what I'm desiring. And to have more pleasure, more passion, more expansive freedom in your life that comes from within, and that you know how to bring that for the rest of your life. And I love working with people in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. You know, it's a really great time of life. You still fit, you still look good, you still feel good, and you have a lot to do, and you don't have all the weird hormones and stuff from when you're younger. I'm happy to work with younger people too, but I love bringing people back to life. And that's a lot of times what happens. People come to me and they look gray and white and half dead. And then after one session, they're just glowing and radiant because we got rid of a bunch of stuff. Let me read these comments. Yes, we can make the change and manifest all the good that we desire and hunger for. Yes, we can, Ben. You're all right, Lauren. 9/9/2019, that's right. 20 years after the Sega Dreamcast launched. Okay. Okay, Lauren. It's a special day. It's a special day. So I'm going to be talking about this every day until then, or until it's booked. And I'm receiving all kinds of downloads for it and program, like audio recordings that are going to be ready for you, but they're actually going to be tailored for you. And this isn't work. This isn't like you're going to be reading a bunch of PDFs and watching a bunch of movies and another course that you can't do. This is me being present with you, guiding you day to day, month to month, through that ego tripping that we do, so that you really do go for that big thing that you've been wanting to do that you just wouldn't do. There's a good chance there's some ancestral pattern keeping you from it, or there's some and childhood stuff, and then it's just also about your mindset, how you're desiring to shift it every day. I feel like you guys need to see the waves. Hang on. Isn't that good? Isn't that good? So, thank you so much for being with me. My team is putting together a sales page. If anybody watching this playback, let me know if you watch the playback. And those of you that are with me live right now want to know more, I want you to private message me. My one-to-ones start at 1K and above. So just so you know that, I want you to understand that I only have a couple clients at a time. I'm a single mom. This is how I bring everything forward. And I do a lot for my community, invest a lot of money for a team so that we can have the daily blog and everything. And so these one-to-one experiences are about me knowing that I'm relaxed and in pleasure and safe and fully clear and magnetic for you. And this is about magnetism and delight in life. and being a beacon of change with your permission, your own permission and feeling of letting yourself do this work. So, and if you're not ready to do the one-to-one, are you in my free group Valtopia? And are you enjoying my live streams and joining me when I come on live almost every day and being a part of the conversation? Because we're doing this together. We're a collective constellation of feelers and creators, and we rock. Isn't the ocean awesome? Lauren has finished legalizing your move to Phoenix. Congratulations, Lauren. You are doing so much, I know, and you've been through some infinite challenges, and you're really bringing yourself up and showing up, and it's so powerful. It's really powerful. I'm just amazed every day at the incredible people I meet. And, you know, when I meet my clients, they're already really quite impressive, and to see how much they change after each week that we go together, it's just so empowering. It's a mutual rise together, and I feel like that's what it is. It's not like I'm some guru or know any, or more powerful, or none of us can be compared. Each of us is bringing to the table us, and each of us is filled with this infinite power within, and each of us has been born in this time of life, in this time of the world, to unlock that. And if you know and are drawn to somebody that can unlock that for you, well, it's your opportunity to do so, and it's your choice, and you get to. That's why I'm like, why isn't everybody signing up every day? Like, this shit works. It works. So a few $1,000s a month to change your whole life for the rest of your life is nothing. It's nothing. So I don't want to hear about like how you can't, because like, unless you want to stay in it, So, all right, I'm going to take KB for more of his walk, and I'm going to keep showing up with this. I can't wait to book in whoever the two of you that you're coming in. And you know what I've added to the program? I'm an artist and I'm a painter, and I'm adding some of those sessions. We're going to paint together. We're going to paint together virtually. If you live close to me, you could come to my studio, paint with me. But we are going to get really open and free with how we're going to unlock you. And you're not just going to like feel better at the end of the experience. You're going to be a whole lit up as fuck, magnetic, sexy, rich, hot badass at the end of the experience. And if that feels like, oh, I'm not allowed or whatever, then there's definitely, you sign up for this, because I don't want anybody saying they're not allowed to be all of who they are. And when I say rich, hot, badass, it's not a superficial thing. Rich to the depth of your soul. Hot, your energy's on fire from your soul. Badass, you're bringing it, you're doing it, you're certain of it, you're confident because you were connected to your soul right. And that's the name of the program, Soul Right. So thank you so much. Oh my gosh, look, he's eating a feather. Don't eat that. Yucky. Say hello. Say hello. All right, thank you so much for sharing with me today. I enjoyed all the love, hearts, and conversation, and see you in Valtopia, honey, on your frequency. There's nobody like you. Bye.